Welcome back to Chasing Dreams Homestead. How you doing tonight, dreamers? Now, generally, we like to keep our videos pretty much fun, lackadaisical, just, free-spirited, happy-go-lucky type videos. We don't often delve into sharing our personal opinions on matters. But, I kind of talked to a buddy of mine earlier, and I told him, I said, you know what, dude? I've followed some YouTubers. I followed some public figures for several years. And those people, at one point or another, showed their true selves, I should say. We never do retakes. We never start over, edit things, whatnot. The only editing we do is cut out scenes where we're doing work projects or whatever that take 2 hours. That would be boring to watch. So if I stumble across words or whatnot, it's okay. With us, you're going to get raw and real. We're imperfect, and that's okay. We're not Hollywood YouTubers. But back to what I was saying. So when these people have shown their true colors, I've been disappointed because I've followed them blindly for years, not knowing that that's how they felt about a matter or that's what they really thought. So at least on our end, we're going to keep it raw and real. We're going to be honest, and we're going to share how we feel about different matters. That way you know who you're following. We appreciate our subscribers, and we hope that we are able to have civil conversations if we disagree on matters. I'm able to appreciate a diverse group of opinions, and I'm able to process information that's presented to me that I may not have previously considered. And at times I've changed my opinion or my thoughts on things. Sometimes we don't know all the facts, but we're going to share our opinion about an article that I read and it bothered me. So the USDA has an initiative called the People's Garden. Now, the article I read was posted in September of 2022, so not very long ago. I just now came across it. It finally made its way into my news feed or whatnot. And they want you to register your garden with them. They want to put you on a list and let people know what you're growing and let people know where you are. Now, they say this is for the benefit of the community. That is a great idea if that were their true intent. I'm all about building community. I'm all about helping people. I'm all about trying to barter and establish a system to where we take care of one another in our community. You have to put in to get. I recently had a buddy come out and help me with my plumbing situation. That was the community that we've established. We've gone several times to their house prior to that and helped them with different livestock things and homesteading things. He's a professional plumber. I got stumped on something and he came and lended a hand. That's the kind of community I'm talking about. But when you start talking about the government putting people on lists, I get nervous. And I'll just be honest with you. I have a very, very healthy distrust for the government. I'm a veteran. I served our country. I've gone to war. And I just really don't trust a lot of the things that our government tries to shove down our throats. In my opinion, I've seen it far too many times, and it has unfolded throughout my lifetime, where one lie told by them this decade comes out this decade, and we find out they lied to us 10 years ago. It's just common. These are people that worship power. These are people that try to maintain their power by misinformation or by fear-mongering. So when you start talking about lists, I get nervous. I don't want to be on anybody's list. Our homestead is not going to register our garden on a government list. It brings to mind the avian influenza nonsense. Yes, AI is real. I have no doubt in my mind it's real. I know people that work in the poultry industry and are not allowed to own chickens because they work in the poultry industry. It's not the first time that we've had avian influenza. And in an industry where the end game for these birds is to become lunch meat or some other kind of meat, one would think that you wouldn't just go in and kill every bird. You wouldn't euthanize every bird and just compost them. You would think that an illness that is not going to be able to cross species and affect us would not be something that would cause you to euthanize an entire industry's worth of birds. You would think that you would just go ahead and harvest those birds. But for some reason, we killed all of those birds. The government has came to people's houses and killed their entire flocks because they've had the flu on their farm. That kind of makes me wonder. We don't kill people because they have the flu. Avian influenza is not able to cross species into us at this point in time. Now, we've all dealt with the pandemic. I have my thoughts on that as well. You know, we got people out here trying to play God. We got people going too deep into trying to mutate and change DNAs and structures and whatnot of viruses and bacterias because we're studying it. I don't know about all that. But we've seen what that did to our country. We've seen what that did to the world. So when you start talking about putting me on a list because of my garden, I already am apprehensive because we have people that are in political positions that are in cities saying you can't have chickens that lay eggs in your backyard. It's against the ordinance. I can't have a chicken in my backyard, but birds can fly in the trees. Birds can walk up and down the sidewalk. Pigeons and whatnot can be everywhere, but I can't have a chicken in my backyard? When are we going to wake up and say, no, we're done with that nonsense? There's places you can't collect rainwater. You can't collect rainwater, but people are out here dumping gallons and gallons and more water than you could ever imagine in commercial agriculture, trying to keep plants alive that they're raising in poor soil, that they've killed all the natural organisms in the soil. So now it's dependent on chemical fertilizers. But I can't collect rainwater? What? But we're not standing up. We're not saying, no, we're not going to play this game. So when you start talking about lists about the kind of food I have in my home or the kind of food I'm growing for my home, I think about something. I think about a little thing called the Quartering Act. Do any of you remember that? History has a funny way of repeating itself when we don't learn from it. You know, we got really upset. The colonial Americans got upset at Great Britain when Great Britain said, dude, guess what? Not only are we at war with you, but you have to house our soldiers. You have to feed them. You have to give them your food. We're in a society right now where there's a massive push for wealth redistribution. Instead of people going out and earning things, we've got a whole sect of people in the society right now that think it's okay if they worked hard or if they inherited it from their, family that worked hard. It's okay that they give us some of that too. We don't have to earn it. Whatever happened to taking onus for yourself? Responsibility for providing for yourself? I live out in the country in an old farmhouse. We deal with field mice from time to time. I set a trap. In that trap, I put some peanut butter. I put some cheese. I put whatever bait I think is going to bring that mouse to that trap. Now, do you think that little field mouse, when he's coming along and he stumbles on that trap, do you think he thinks this trap's about to kill him? No, probably not. He thinks, oh, they left out some free food. Let me get that. Whack! He's gone. It's that simple. You've got these power-worshipping fear-mongers trying to get you on a list so that they can control you. If they can control your food, they can confiscate your food. They can redistribute your food to someone who sat on their butt all year long and didn't raise a daggum plant. And all your hard work was for nothing. We won't be on that list. The government does a few things efficiently and well, in my opinion. They do more things terribly and couldn't govern themselves out of a wet paper sack. There's an ongoing joke that we need Chick-fil-A to run the government because the government is more like daggum McDonald's. Come on, y'all. When are you going to start opening your eyes and realizing that the government is not for you? We, the people, elected these folks, or so they told us. But these folks are controlling everything while hiding what they do. They're invading our privacy. They're in every little detail of our business while hiding the things they do. There's no transparency. I'm not going to get down to different political parties because honestly, both parties is kind of daggum crooked. There is corruption. There's been corruption in this world since the dawn of man. But the levels of corruption we are seeing today is just out of control. And if those levels of corruption don't make you afraid and don't make you have a little bit of distrust for the government, you're asleep. You're asleep. You need to wake up. You need to be a man or woman for your family, for your community, the community I'm talking about, the ones you build, the people that are around you, the people that are helping you and that you are helping. You've got to get yourself up and you've got to take care of your business. And you've got to stop trusting that the government is here to help. I'm from the government. I'm here to help. How many times have you seen that in movies? It's funny because it's in movies, but it's real. Like I said, we don't often want to go down this path because we know it's going to make waves. But if y'all are going to follow our homestead, and I hope you still do, even if you disagree with me, I'll still love you and I'll still be here doing what we do on our homestead. But at the end of the day, I want you to know who you're following. And some of you might say, Chase, you got a 10-fold hat on right now, brother. No. I do my homework. And I'm inviting you to do your homework. The government has always had lists. And the worst part about those lists are scenarios where they've got lists of terrorists that they're watching and they do nothing about. But then they've got lists where they use these lists to punish their political adversaries. So you knew that these dudes were terrorists and they might blow up a marathon, but you don't do nothing? You knew they were planning something, but you don't lock them up? But you put a political adversary in prison because you disagree with them on tax charges you trump up. You start auditing people. I mean, come on. These politicians got us all at each other's throats, got us all divided, got us all upset, got us all afraid. But we don't have to be. We don't have to be afraid at all. We can all take steps in our lives to become less dependent on the government, less dependent on the system. But they don't want that. Because if you start becoming independent and self-sufficient, they lose power. And that's all they care about. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They care about maintaining their power, and they don't care what kind of lies they got to tell you to keep that power. I guarantee you, half of y'all have seen the stuff that Elon Musk leaked. What? Really? Took over Twitter, and I'm not saying Elon Musk is no perfect guy. None of us are perfect. Took over Twitter, and people had said that the social media and different media platforms were suppressing different views and different opinions and manipulating data and manipulating people. We said that for a long time, but we had our tinfoil hats on. Elon starts doing leaks, and he had planned to do multiple leaks of this data. And now he's shut down for a moment. The White House reached out to him. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. This world is getting crazier and crazier. It's scary times. But we do everything we can on our homestead to become less and less dependent on the system. We don't want to be slaves. I'm not going to be anybody's slave. I'm not going to bow down to you because you didn't let me grow my garden. And now my family's starving, so I got to swallow my pride to beg you to feed me. No. I don't trust it, and I won't be on no daggone list. The less list that I can possibly be on, this video might get me on a list. But the less list I can possibly be on, the better. Lord, Lord, Lord. While I'm shaking that can, while I'm opening that can, I'm going to go ahead and give one more of our opinions on something. And I'm going to speak on this in just a minute. I got to wet my whistle, y'all. All right. I'm very much a libertarian to an extent. I'm not a true libertarian to the definition of complete libertarianism. But for the most part, I don't care what my neighbor does. I don't care what anybody does, as long as it's not hurting me or my family. As long as you're not hurting kids, I don't care. I'm going to talk about Tractor Supply, y'all. I don't know what the heck them people were thinking. You are a farm store. You are not an industry that caters to special interest groups. And let me say it one more time. I don't care what you do in your bedroom. I don't care who you sleep with at night. I'm not perfect. God's going to judge me for my sins one day, just like he'll judge you for your sins one day. So I don't care about all that LGBTQ stuff. I don't. You can do what you want to do. I don't judge you for it. Some of my very best friends are homosexuals, and that's fine with me. Like I said, I'm not perfect. I've got my own flaws that I've got to deal with my Creator about. So I don't judge people for that. But I take issue when you have businesses out here supporting and sponsoring events where little kids are giving dollar bills to people dressed sexually. I wouldn't care if it wasn't a tranny or a drag queen or any of those things. If it was a daggone stripper from down the road and she was in there on a pole and they were giving her dollar bills. No. What the heck is wrong with y'all? Why would you sponsor an event like that? Stay in your lane. You're a farm store. What does that stuff got to do with farming? Like, come on. I'm not going to be silent about the filth that is being shoved down children's throats anymore. I'm not afraid. It's garbage. Our kids deserve better. And God darn it, if you're a parent and you're subjecting your kids to that, what's wrong with you? Everyone talks about the drag queens that are there dancing and the things that they're doing provocatively. But the responsibility falls on the parents that took their kids to the daggum event. Like I said, I don't care that they had a drag queen show. I don't think it has anything to do with what their business model is. They are a farm store. But what I care about is that children were there and giving dollars during a provocative sexual moment. That's what I care about. I say it one more time. I don't care what you do in your bedroom. I don't judge you for it. I love everybody. But when you start bringing kids into the picture, that's where I take a stand. And that's where I say enough is enough. Wake the hell up. This is getting old. I'm a father and I don't stand for this crap. I would never subject my children to that kind of nonsense. And like I said, to me, it ain't no different if they had a stripper there, a regular stripper from a strip club. So my issue is not with the fact that there were drag queens there. My issue is with the fact of what those children were subjected to. And if you don't find an issue with children being subjected to adults doing sexual things and throwing dollar bills at those adults, what is wrong with you? We don't do that kind of nonsense, y'all. Our country has gone so far crazy. We can respect each other's differences. We can let each other have their value without hurting children in the process. That's the issue I have, is the children. Cut it out. I told y'all, this one was going to make waves. And if I lose subscribers over it, that's okay with me. I hope I don't. I love everybody. Unless you hurt kids, then in that case, F you. But I'm tired of it. And people need to wake up. I'm trying to establish a homesteading community where we help one another. Where we encourage people to come to the homesteading life. Where we support one another. In our Facebook group, we do not have negativity. We do not have infighting or bickering or insulting one another. And that's the kind of world we need to be. We need to be a world where we can civilly discuss differences. We need to be able to talk about these hot button issues. Because if we can't talk about this, all we're going to do is internalize things and build animosity and friction, and it's going to erupt. And that's no healthy way for anyone to live. That's no productive way to come to a solution. We've got to work on being able to talk to each other. You know, I don't know when this movement started about you'd never discuss religion and politics and blah, blah, blah. That was to try to keep people from bickering, but instead it led to more bickering because we're incapable of having a civil conversation with one another if we disagree. I can disagree with you and still love you. I can disagree with you and still know that your opinion matters. I hope you can extend the same courtesy and respect to me. But at the end of the day, you're not going to catch us adding ourselves to a list. I don't trust the government. And I won't stand for children being subjected to sexual filth. I'm not going to remain silent. We have a very vocal and loud population of special interest groups in this country. That's fine. That's fine. You got something on your chest you need to get off your chest, and that's fine. I may not agree with it, but you're entitled to it, and you have that freedom to do it. But at the same time, I've got the same freedom to get off my chest what I'm feeling. And that's where problems come in. Those same special interest groups really have a hard time being tolerant of a different point of view. How are we ever going to go forward? We can't until we can talk. I'm going to get off my soapbox, y'all. Like I said, I knew it was going to ruffle some feathers, but I want y'all to know what kind of person you're following at Chasing Dreams Homestead. We try to keep things very, very lighthearted and funny, and we will for the most part. But when stuff like this comes up, I'm going to speak on it. I'm not going to bite my tongue. And I challenge the rest of you not to bite your tongue. I want you to put in the comments how you feel about this potential, or it's not even potential, it's already ongoing, about this government garden list. I'm going to add that article in the comments so you can read it yourself. But I also strongly encourage you to do your own homework. And you can also put in the comments how you feel about what Tractor Supply did if you want to. But like I said in my group this morning when we started sharing our opinions about things, do it respectfully. Don't insult one another. You accomplish nothing by doing that. You really don't. Take your time, think about what you got to say, and say it with some civility to you. There ain't no reason to be trash talking one another in a comment section. It doesn't accomplish anything. We love y'all. Till next time, keep dreaming.